WWE Raw featured a lot of new hints for Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes feud, so we'll see what's going on there. We'll also check out some fan theories for Triple H's possible big twist within the story. Let's start things off with some updates for Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. The May 22nd edition of Monday Night Raw kicked off with Brock Lesnar brutally attacking Cody Rhodes as Cody was walking into the building. Brock beat Cody down, threw him into the garage door, and threw a keg at Cody's shoulder and arm area. That'll be important later on, and we'll come circle back to that. But Paul Heyman is seen in the middle of the ring and says that he had nothing to do with what just happened there between Brock and Cody, and continued his promo about Night of Champions. Later on, Brock rudely interrupts and walks right into the middle of a backstage interview with Ali. After walking past Ali, Brock randomly turned around and told him to get a life. And that was a little viral and funny moment there for Brock. But Brock Lesnar makes his way to the ring and mocks Cody Rhodes before saying that Cody won't make it to Night of Champions. So he's issuing an open challenge for any other Raw superstar to take Cody's spot at Night of Champions. But a beaten down Cody Rhodes still comes out and makes his way to the ring with a sling around his arm and shoulder that Brock had already injured earlier in the night. It didn't take long at all for Brock Lesnar to expose that injured arm and shoulder from Cody Rhodes, and quickly takes him down to the mat with a Kimura lock submission on the arm and shoulder. Brock held the submission firmly in place for several moments, before giving it one last big twist and later stomping on his arm as the final devastating blow to Cody Rhodes. And ever since Brock Lesnar started using that move in WWE, it's been treated and booked as this absolutely devastating move that instantly breaks arms or dislocates shoulders. So it looks like that's the narrative they're running here for Cody Rhodes and this match with Brock Lesnar. With their first matchup at Backlash, it was a pretty similar narrative. Cody Rhodes was not cleared to compete following Brock's attack on him, the Raw after Wrestlemania, but Cody still came out to the ring, looking for a fight and looking for Brock Lesnar, despite being unfit and not cleared to compete. Well, now they're taking that narrative and really cranking it up another level. With the backstage attack on his arm and the in-ring beatdown, it looks like WWE will sell the narrative that Cody Rhodes will still give his all and still wants to fight, even with a possible broken arm and dislocated shoulder. It's the ultimate underdog babyface story of a character that will really stop at nothing to keep going and keep fighting. It's the type of stories that always works in the movies. You have the protagonist that's getting absolutely destroyed by the antagonist, but they keep fighting no matter what and eventually defeat the evil force at the end of the film. It looks like that's what they may be going for here with Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. But that happy and good ending seems very unlikely to take place at Night of Champions. Considering the story of their first match was Cody busting Brock open and sneaking away with a win, it looks like their second match will most likely be Brock Lesnar absolutely dominating a one-arm version of Cody Rhodes to pick up the win. Sure, it'll go down in the history books as a loss for Cody Rhodes, but it's going to have an asterisk next to it, since we all know that Cody should have never been in that match to begin with, since he only had one arm. So that appears to be the direction they're going in. It seems like they're going for a trilogy of matches between Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes picked up the win at Backlash. Brock Lesnar will most likely pick up the win of Night of Champions, tying them up at one apiece and setting up that final rubber match, most likely at Money in the Bank or Summerslam. It looks like Night of Champions will still count as a match between them, but it's used more of a way to deepen the story for that third and possible final match between Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. Speaking of deepening their story, there's some fan theories going around involving Triple H's possible on-screen role within this storyline. The May 22nd edition of Raw ended with the first ever on-screen interaction between Cody Rhodes and Triple H ever since Cody returned. Triple H comes up to Cody Rhodes backstage and mentions how Cody needs medical treatment for the arm, how no one is questioning Cody's toughness, but how this is different and how he can possibly end up missing another large amount of time on the shelf if he goes through with his Night of Champions match. Cody cuts him off, asks Triple H what he would do if he was in his spot, and how he was still going to fight Brock Lesnar at Night of Champions, no matter what. Cody starts packing his bag while Triple H smiles, pats him on the back, and leaves the locker room. Now, the big fan theory that's picking up momentum is the question of, does Triple H have anything to do with Brock targeting Cody Rhodes? We still don't have a solid reason for why Brock started coming after Cody Rhodes to begin with, and Heyman already said several times that he has nothing to do with him. At first, some fans thought that maybe Paul Heyman set up the attack from Brock on Cody just so that Cody can stay away from Roman, but that wasn't true. So fans are now a bit suspicious of Triple H. Is he the one that quietly hired Brock Lesnar as the hitman to take care of Cody? Is that the true reason behind these attacks? There's some mixed emotions and some bad history there between Cody and Triple H that they could implement into a storyline. But the main issue with this fan theory is how it's impossible and wouldn't work. Because when it comes to a storyline like that of an authority figure acting shady towards a talent, the big payoff that just needs to be a part of the story at that point is a match between the talent and the authority figure. And as everyone knows, Triple H is seriously retired from the ring and can't step foot in the ring for a match under no circumstances at all, due to his last horrific cardiac incident he had a few years back. So if they do this story of Triple H quietly setting up Cody Rhodes for failure and destruction, it may be intriguing at the start, but ultimately it's going to be feeling pretty flat towards the end of it because it won't be ending with the big payoff of Triple H versus Cody Rhodes. Best case scenario is that it'll be Triple H standing in the corner of one of his guys that he'll put up to face Cody Rhodes. That'll be the big payoff if they were to go through with that angle. So it's a theory that fans are discussing, but a lot of fans are aware that it won't include an actual showdown between Cody Rhodes and Triple H. So taking that into consideration, it basically makes you wonder, well, then what's the point? So we can still keep an eye on Triple H to see if he continues to have a role in this storyline, but for the time being, it looks like Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes will tie up their match series and have a final big third match where they'll both be healthy for it, and maybe they'll even have a stipulation as well. But what are your thoughts on today's stories with Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.